so I'm a psychic medium now, but growing up, we grew up in this haunted house, which was full of the craziest experiences. People sleeping over experienced it, family members, friends, all sorts of things. Okay. This particular experience was kind of wild because unlike other things where you can't see it, I saw it just as clearly as you are in front of me. Now, Sundays were for cleaning. I was about 13 at the time, and we were doing laundry that day. Me, my brother, and me just at home that day. Now, I was separating. My bedroom was downstairs next to the laundry, so I could hear my mum rustling in the laundry at the time. I'm assuming it's her because my brother didn't dare touch laundry. So I collect all my things, head straight into the laundry, and my mum has her back to me. She's loading up stuff into the washing machine. Now, I just said, hey, Mum, are you doing colours or whites? No response. Ma, you doing colours or whites? No response. I'm like, shitty. And then I get goosebumps, like shivers from my feet up, and that's never a good sign. I had already had plenty of experiences by this point, so my blood ran cold, and I'm like, oh shit, is this actually my mum? It's got to be. She's there. I say, Mum, what did you put in the wash? And mega slowly, she turns around to me. I can't even begin to describe you how creepy this was. And she slowly looks at me with the most hateful eyes I think I've ever seen. And she doesn't say anything to me. And then she starts approaching me slowly, one step at a time. And I'm freaking out internally. I start backing away one step at a time as she starts approaching me. About 4 steps later, I launch it, hightail it straight out of the laundry, run straight past the living room, hightail it all the way up the stairs. Because for some reason, I'm not sure why, but my mum's room always was safe. Okay, maybe because she had all the religious stuff in there. Anyway, hightail it. I think I'm taking 4 steps at a time. Bang, 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 bang. I feel like this thing is literally on me, okay? I launch it around the second living room upstairs, and then I'm turning the corner where the kitchen is, right? And then I'm heading towards the hallway, and then I hear my mum go, hey, slow down, what's going on? I stop dead in my tracks. Now, my brother's in the kitchen with her, right? And I turn around and I look at her, and I must have been white as a ghost. She realized, and she goes, La sangre Cristo. She grabs my brother, grabs me. We run straight to the bedroom, and she slams the door. By this point, as she's doing this, we actually hear these steps going bang, 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 coming all the way up the stairs, right? And literally hearing it round the corner as we're like slamming her bedroom door. And then bang, as soon as she flicks the actual lock to lock it, we just hear bang, 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 bang on the actual door of her bedroom. We hear growling and snarling. I can't even begin to describe to you how thick the air was with this. It was wild. Now, we immediately started praying because that's what, our mother told us to do. She gets out the holy water, she gets out the rosary, that sort of thing. It takes a while for this situation to settle down. Eventually, well, we don't hear anything. We stay in the room for about another 40 minutes or so. Don't hear anything, all right? My mum's opens up the door slowly, takes the holy water, crucifix, holding both of us, right? In case we need to leave the house. And so, she does a quick inspection downstairs. Goes downstairs, does a quick inspection with us, right? I'm grabbing onto my mum. I'm like, you dare let me go. And then she finally goes into the laundry. Now, my mum says she didn't do any laundry that day. Lo and behold, that laundry was fully topped up, down to the powder and everything. Even the setting was set up. She just didn't press start. Now, if me, my mum, and my brother were in the house, nobody did laundry. She was as clear as day as you and I talking, right? As a person, I could have touched her. So that one was quite an unusual experience because it actually mimicked my mother. Freaky. Anyway, let me know if you want to hear some of my other haunted stories.
Hey y'all, I'm gonna talk about doppelgangers and mimics. tried to do this story last night and I just could not get through it. Doppelgangers and mimics are some of my favorite paranormal phenomena. I think they're terribly creepy. So in the simplest terms, a doppelganger is an entity that takes on the appearance of somebody, while a mimic can copy their voice. Sometimes you'll experience both together, but in my experience it's usually separate. And I think they're two separate types of entities. Different tricksters, most likely. Wait for the train to pass. There's one evening, I was probably about 17 or so, and I was at the church working, as teenage children of youth pastors do, unpaid labor, all the damn time. I digress. And I was in the office area in this teeny little closet-like space making copies. And I hear my dad calling me from the lobby. My dad's voice is distinct. And he hollered out, "Hey, Bear!" That's my childhood nickname. That's the only thing he called me until I was like an adult. I'm busy making these copies, I'm not really even thinking. I just yell back, "Yes, sir." And my mom calls from back further in the office, says, "What are you doing?" I'm still focused on these copies. I say, "Dad called me." And I stop. And all of a sudden it clicks. My dad is TDY on the other side of the country. He ain't calling me from the lobby. We stop what we're doing, do it all good Pentecostal women do, and just start hooting and hollering and praying in spirit and whatnot. I'm just a teenager, but at this phase of my life I was very, very deeply involved in deliverance ministry. I should not have been. It was not wise for the elders of the church to be calling on a teenager to do spiritual warfare. But I was the only one that could see the things. So I was put in a lot of very dark paranormal situations. And when you start to get into the darker side of the paranormal, shit's gonna follow you home. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Now they say if you see your own doppelganger, you're gonna die. I've never seen my own doppelganger, but I have seen my mama's. That was the same week that I heard the mimic copy my dad. Still makes me sick to my stomach. Part 2.
Actually surprised that my last ghost story got the reaction that it got, because I really didn't expect people to believe me. I don't really expect people to believe this one. It's less believable than that one, but I do have witnesses. I'm gonna keep this one quick, but to tell you this story, I have to tell you about the house. There's a ton of facts I can tell you about the house, but we're gonna focus on 3. 1, you could tell it had been renovated multiple times, like it wasn't supposed to be a house, or it had been some units or some other things. It was a few other things before it was meant to be a house. 2, there were, I'm going to describe them as strange carvings somewhere in the house. I can touch on that a little bit more, but not for this story. Number 3, the next door neighbors already assumed that we moved in before we had moved in, because they saw lights despite the lights not being on, and heard music. I actually think that the neighbors were trying to tell us multiple different times that something was up, and we just didn't catch it until later. But there's going to be a lot more instances of things that it didn't make sense until later. My side of the house had the most activity. There's a little den area and then French doors, bedroom. The den area always sounded like a party was going on. Like it always just sounded like a party going on in the next room. Sometimes in the middle of the night we would just look at each other like, why is it just so loud? So much was going on. But by that time we were aware. This story happens before we were really aware. The relationship that I'm in now was new at that time. So we're talking on the phone late at night, cupcaking, falling asleep on the phone, all like the cute stuff like that. At this time, what I remember was I was falling asleep. He's like on a video game, not really looking at the phone, but like he's looking at the screen playing the video game. We talk a little bit like that. This was early on in the relationship. I didn't want him to see me looking crazy. So I remember being like, I don't want to fall asleep on the phone and he sees that I'm drooling or something crazy. So I'm laying down with my head on the pillow, but I have the phone next to the pillow facing upwards. So I can see him, but he can just see darkness because it's just pointed straight up at the ceilings. The ceilings were very high, so it was just darkness. Okay, I'm going to try my best to describe this. So I'm falling asleep. For some reason, I decide to open my eyes. And when I open my eyes, I see my eye on the screen, like fully on the screen. I see him, and in the little box is my eye. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, how did I move the phone? Like, I didn't even remember falling asleep. But I'm just trying to figure this out. Mind you, this is like maybe 2 seconds of me looking at it and trying to understand what I'm looking at. I think my brain just wouldn't make sense of it. And I see my eye like slowly back out of the camera and fade into darkness. At this time, he's playing the game and he looks over. I see him see it as it's backing up. But he just like looks back at the game and he continues playing the game. I'm starting to realize something is off, but it's still fairly new in the relationship and I don't want to scare him. I'd never really talked to anybody about what we had been experiencing in the house unless you like lived in the house. But I was definitely not telling him because I didn't want to scare him off. So I'm like, if he doesn't say anything, I'm not going to say anything. And I hear him say something like, that's crazy. So I remember thinking, please be talking about something on the game. So I'm like, what? I remember you saying one thing, you remember you saying another thing. 'Cause I remember you being like, I just saw your face for a second. And you remember being like...
And I said...
So you said that first?
No, I said, why are you looking at the camera like that? And you said what you said.
Oh, okay. All right. So he says, why are you looking at the camera like that? And I'm kind of shook. So I'm just like, huh? And he's like, I just saw your face for a second. And I was like, no, you didn't. And I immediately shot straight up and took off out the room. There was actually so much about that room that I didn't talk to anybody about it. It just wasn't something that I wanted to talk to anybody about or even admit what was really happening. It wasn't until he started actually sleeping over and having his own experiences and then later opening up to me about the experiences that he had in that house that we started to put the story together and things started to actually fully come together. And I ended up talking to somebody who lived in that house about 30 years before I did, and she confirmed some things too. But that didn't happen until maybe 6 months after I moved out of that house. We didn't put together a lot of things until later.
A few years ago, I was relentlessly haunted by an entity, and that all unfolded pretty much live on here because I was coming on here daily asking for advice and help. This entity would present itself as my husband, and I would see it regularly, so regularly in fact that I did catch it on camera quite a few times. But the thing is, whenever I saw it, it would never let me see its face. I would just see what my husband typically wore in the back of his head, and I would assume it was him, but when I would see this thing, there would be no way that it was my husband. This will probably forever be the scariest paranormal experience that I ever had, and I'm gonna retell all of the stories on here in different parts so we can get them neatly in a playlist because people have been asking for them. So, welcome to part 1. Now, before we get into this, I can say with full confidence that this thing is gone, and it has been gone for a while, and at the end of this playlist, I will tell you guys exactly how I got rid of it, and I can even show you if you like. But, let's get into it. Let's get into my first experience with this thing that pretended to be my husband. So one day I'm upstairs getting ready with the bathroom door open. Now the layout of our house is you walk upstairs, and if you keep walking straight back, you're into the bathroom. Now if you're standing there about to walk into the bathroom, our bedroom is to the left and there's a second bedroom to the right. Well, I am standing there at the sink because the sink's like right in front of that door, and I happen to look up in the mirror and I see my husband standing behind me, and he's got his back to me. He's wearing a red flannel. So I say something, he doesn't respond, and I'm like, okay, it's weird. I look down to do something, look back up, and he is gone. Like, no trace within seconds. And I was like, all right. So I finish up what I'm doing, and I go into the bedroom because I hear him moving around in there, and I'm like, why didn't you answer me? Like, why were you just standing there Blair Witching our wall like that? And he was like, I didn't leave this bedroom. What are you talking about? And I was like, no, you did for a fact. Like, I saw you there. And as we're talking, I am looking at what he's wearing, and it is simply not what I just saw him wearing, which was a red flannel. So I said that. I'm like, you even changed clothes. Like, you're messing with me. So we walked downstairs together, and sure enough, that red flannel is down here. Like, it could not have been down here with him being where... There's no way. There's no way. So whatever I saw in the mirror that day was not my husband. And if I had been able to see its face, I probably could have confirmed that. My name is Morgan, and I had a mimic torment me for years. Not only me, my husband, and now other members of my family. So this is going to be part 2 of me retelling every experience that I ever had with it, because I can say happily that it is gone now, and it has been gone for a while. So I sat down the other day, and I was trying to write down all of my experiences and go through all the videos, because I was documenting it on here as it was happening. And I wanted to get everything in order, but I honestly just don't think that matters. And I can't remember the exact order that everything happened because more paranormal stuff was going on. And I don't want to cross things and mix things, but that might happen. So I'm just going to tell you the bulks of what happened in really no stone order. Like, there's certain things that happen before others, but I'll tell you. The next things I want to talk about are the little occurrences that happened after my first one, when I saw my husband in the reflection of a mirror. So I would see him being the back of my husband, so the red flannel he always wore, and the back of his head, and the back of his blue jeans, and the back of his boots. I would only see that in the reflection of things when my husband was out of the house, when he was at work, when he was at the gym, when he ran to the store down the street. That is the only time that I would see this thing. And I would see it in the reflection of windows. The window I'm filming in right now is where I saw it all the time. So I would be walking right through here, out of my kitchen and into here, and I would be looking into this window that's behind you guys right now, and I would see his reflection behind me, but he wasn't home. But then it would escalate from seeing it in the reflection of things to seeing it like right in front of me. There was one time that I can recall, I was in my downstairs bathroom, and the downstairs bathroom is like right underneath the stairs, and my husband was upstairs at the time. So I heard what sounded just like him walking down the stairs, past that bathroom door, and looping around into the kitchen. And so I popped my head out of the bathroom to like see what he needed, because he was like in the middle of work or something upstairs, so I was making sure everything was okay. So I popped my head out just in time to see him around the corner in the kitchen, and I go out of the bathroom into that kitchen where it is a literal dead end. No one. There was no one there. There was nothing there. So I go upstairs, and my husband is literally working. He worked from home at the time. He was literally full into work. He didn't come downstairs. Not that it would have been impossible anyways, because dead end. And this would happen quite a bit, specifically when I was in that downstairs bathroom. I would think I heard him walk out, see him around the kitchen, and he wouldn't be there. There was also a time when I was walking down these stairs that are right here, and I saw what looked like him walk by, and he was downstairs in the bathroom, literally didn't move, because when I saw him walk by him in front of me, I watched him walk into the kitchen, and whenever I had walked into the kitchen, at the bathroom door, it opened, and he wasn't even wearing what I saw him wearing, and my husband was there, but I saw someone walk into the kitchen. So that happened quite frequently. Something also when my husband, I'm getting ahead of myself, but eventually my husband did start seeing me as well, and similar things would happen involving that bathroom too. So we will get into that, but that was if you're new here, hi, my name is Morgan, and a few years ago I had a mimic torment me and my family relentlessly. And I'm retelling everything that happened on this series, so welcome to part 3. And part 3 is going to be all about the first time that I caught this thing on camera, because it happened multiple times. Now, it is no secret that I'm a content creator. Usually, if I am out doing something, the camera is rolling. So, obviously, I'm going to catch some stuff on camera from time to time. And this was one of those times. And I can promise you, if you were on the spooky side of this app, you have seen this video, because it went, okay? So let me tell you the backstory behind this video. I grew up on a very haunted farm in the Appalachian Mountains. I moved away, but I still live like 15 minutes away from it. Well, on this particular day, I was heading up to my family's farm to do some filming. I literally do not remember what for, but I was by myself because my husband was here working from home. So I get to the farm and I'm filming an intro walking up the road to the farm, and I start to hear something kind of peculiar. It's hey. I start hearing hey. So I freeze and start looking around, assuming someone's up there with me. No one was, by the way. And I stop recording, and I'm like, okay, let's pretend that didn't happen, and I'm going to start again. And on the second recording is when you see something. So I start up, I'm literally going through everything that I said again. I hear something again, I freeze, I turn a slight way, and the area that I just walked by, where there was nothing beside of me, now holds what looks to be my husband. I cannot stress enough the fact that my husband was not up there, he was at home. So after this happened, I did not see that he was standing there until later on. I drove to my parents' house, waited for my husband there, and then we came back up where we caught something else on camera together later that day. But I literally talked to him on the phone after I left there. He was at home. It was not him. He wouldn't have pranked me anyways, but it was not anything like that. So that's fun. Like I said, that was the first time it happened on camera. We'll be talking about the day that I caught the mimic that was haunting me for years on camera. I caught something else. Now, I don't think this is the mimic, but so many people online do that I thought I should include it in my retelling. If you're new here, hi, my name's Morgan, and a mimic haunted me for years, and you are on part... I'm not sure. I'll put it here. I'm not sure which part of the series you're on right now. So picking up from where the last story left off, I came back up to that farm. So I stayed at my parents' house, waited for my husband to get off from work and come up to the farm himself, and then we came back up there to film some stuff for you guys. I honest to God don't remember what all we were filming, but I know he was dressed up and we were doing some like creepy stuff. Well, in this clip, I am reading. I'm trying to like be mysterious and hide my face with the book. It really just looked like I couldn't freaking see, and I was like reading really weird. But behind me at the old house, you can see something kind of unnaturally glide out from the side of that house at me. At the same time that this was being filmed, something whistled, and you can see me look up from it in the clip. But my husband was not anywhere near where that thing was. He was wearing something similar, but he was like at the back of the house, and you didn't see it come out, did you?
No, I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything. I was waiting for like... I can't remember exactly what I was like, but I just remember staying in the back of the house and I heard you calling for me.
Yeah. So, I mean, it might be the mimic, it might not be, I don't know. I do live in the Appalachian Mountains, so it literally could have been anything. I was on a farm in the middle of the woods.
Sure, whatever that thing was, it didn't move its legs when it walked. It just sort of collided over.
Literally looked like it was floating.
So whatever it was, I don't think it was like corporeal.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, that's that clip. Like I said, don't know if it was related, but, thought I should include it.
Story time of how I found out that my house was haunted back in New Zealand. So this happened in our old house that we still own. This was about 5 generations old. So me and my 2 sisters were home alone this one day. It's me and my sister Ava and my sister Anna. Ava and Anna. I'm looking after my sisters that day, and my mum has gone out to New Plymouth, which is about a 45-minute drive away. So I'm sitting on the couch in the lounge with my sister Ava. All of a sudden, we see my younger sister Anna come into the lounge, and she's like got her hair all down like this. She's like looking like the Grudge a bit. We just thought she was being like a bit emo. And she comes in front of the couch, and she's walking super fast with her hair all down, and she's like storming through the lounge. So she comes through, walks straight past us, storms through, and then walks out the other side of the door and slams the door really loud. And then me and my sister, we're sitting on the couch, we look at each other and we're like, what the fuck? Like Ava said to me on the couch, she said, what the hell was her problem? And I was like, I don't know. Anyways, we just shrug it off because we're like, she's just been a little girl. Half an hour goes by and my mum calls us. She's just telling me that she's heading home now, so she'll be home in like an hour, and her and Anna are just going to stop into the grocery store before they come home. And I'm like, hang on a minute, what do you mean Anna? Anna's here. My mum says, no she's not. She's been in New Plymouth with me the whole day. And I tell you, me and my sister looked at each other and we were like, huh? So who the hell was that walked through the lounge? And we were like, no, Anna's here. We looked around the house, Anna was not there. Lo and behold, my mum comes home about an hour later, and there's my sister with her. She's been in New Plymouth the whole entire day. So, me and my sister never spoke about this afterwards. Until kind of like years later, I was actually telling my boyfriend about it, and he was like, that's so creepy. And then I brought it up to Ava, and she was like, oh my god, that actually happened. Like, yes, I remember that happening happening exactly like that. So look, I don't know if someone can explain what happened there, please let me know, but that is definitely the scariest story that I have so far. I've got a few more scary stories as well, so let me know if you guys want to hear them, but I'm going to get into more story times as well, because I feel like I've got quite a lot of stories to tell that are super entertaining, and I would love to share them with you.
Okay, so this happened in 2009, and I had either just graduated high school or I was about to. And my boyfriend was living with us at the time, and we were in our bedroom, and my mother and her boyfriend at the time would get into very loud, like angry fights. So when that would happen, we would usually leave the house when it would start getting uncomfortable. So this particular night, they were screaming at each other, and we left out the back door. So the way that our house is set up, when you walk into the front door, you're in the living room, and there's a hallway that to the left is the bedrooms, and to the right is the bathroom and the kitchen where the back door is. So while they were fighting, we snuck through the hallway and went out the back door. And we were gone for a good 45 minutes, maybe an hour. And when we walked through the door, they were staring at us like eyes wide, and they looked scared, and we're like, what's going on? Like, we had left before and come back, and it was never a big deal. And they asked us, well, how long have you been gone for? We said, I don't know, like 45 minutes, an hour maybe. And they looked even more shocked. So come to find out, they said that a few minutes before, about 15 minutes, we had apparently walked through the front door. We're giving them dirty looks. They were assuming because they were being too loud with their fight. And we looked angry, walked to the hallway into our bedroom, and slammed the door shut. And this still gives me goosebumps to this day, because we were like, what the actual, what is going on? So we walked to the hallway and looked, and the bedroom door that we had left open when we left was completely shut. So I was scared. And my boyfriend at the time, of course, was scared too, but he decided to open the door. And as soon as he opened the door, it was obvious that the window was wide open, which we never left the window open. And the room was really cold. And mind you, like I said, it was around graduation time, so I remember it was really hot outside. And the AC didn't really reach my bedroom, so it was usually a little bit warm, but this night it was ice cold. And I was so freaked out that I didn't want to sleep in that bedroom that night. So we ended up sleeping in the living room. And it still freaks me out to this day, because I have other stories. I grew up in New Mexico. There's a lot of, witchcraft stories I have, and, S-Walker encounters, things like that. And this was the first time I had heard about, any type of doppelgängers.
So mimics are being talked about a lot on TikTok right now. And I have a secondhand mimic story to share with you all. For those of you who don't know me, hello, I'm Phantasma Witch. I am a tarot reader, palm reader, pet communicator, medium, in general, overall psychic witch. And if you've been following me for a while now, you know that my partner has also had a lot of experiences seeing and sensing spirits and entities his whole life, just like I have. And when we first met, he told me about this story about a mimic that he was living with while he was in college. So back when my partner was going to college in Seattle, they shared a place with another person, just one other person who sometimes had their partner come over and visit. And so it was just these two people that lived there and a visitor from time to time. And so every now and then my partner would go back to his apartment, and on the couch facing away from him would be his roommate. And so my partner would be like, hey, I'm home, I'm gonna go into my room. And the roommate wouldn't say anything, just kind of wave, and my partner would walk into their room. Nothing weird. Until my partner came out of the room a couple minutes later, and the roommate was nowhere to be found. Yet 2 minutes later, the roommate walks in from the outside with all of their backpack goods and stuff from school, and they said, hey, what's up? And my partner was like, hey,
You were just playing a game a second ago. Did you go out to get food or something? And the roommate was like, what are you talking about? I've been gone all day. And my partner says, excuse me? You were literally just on the couch playing games. And the roommate was like, no, dude, I've been out all day. I literally just walked in the door. But this didn't just happen to my partner. It wasn't just my partner seeing the roommate. One time, my partner came back to his apartment, and the roommate was like, hey man, what happened? My partner was like, what are you talking about? And the roommate was like, well, you know, I walked in, I said hello to you, you didn't turn around, you just walked into your room and didn't say a word. And my partner said, I've been at school all day. I literally just walked in the door. And the roommate was like, well, if this is you, then who the hell is in your room? They go into my partner's room. It's empty. There's nobody there. These two were not the only people that they saw and had this experience. Their roommate's girlfriend would see either one of them walk into the apartment, always facing away, never looking, and never saying a word. Always a silent wave or a silent nod of understanding. Yet this mimic never said a single word. It only showed itself, and whenever it showed itself, it was always in passing for a quick blip and always from behind. Their face was never seen. So there's my creepy mimic story, as I was told by my partner, and we have some theories as to what this actually was, what kind of entity this was, but nonetheless, still freaky as hell. Have you had a mimic experience? I know a lot of people share their experiences with mimics as voices mimicking, but have you ever heard of a mimic being seen, but not really seen?
All right, I'm kind of freaking out a little bit. I am cleaning. Ignore this, my Band-Aid wouldn't stay on, so I taped it. But in the middle of cleaning, I hear like a door shut, and I'm whispering because I'm kind of weirded out. Louis in the living room by himself, but I hear this door slam, and then I swear I thought I heard like me say like hello or hey or something. So I'm trying to wait and see if it does it again, because I'm a nervous laugher, so. Did you hear that? My word is blowing through my chest. Oh my God, who is that?
In this video, you hear someone calling this woman's name in her own voice, and it's terrifying, but I was looking through the comments and people were saying like that's a mimic. I had never heard of that before, but I think I have experience with one. When I was living at home, I would frequently hear my mom call my name. I would hear her walking around upstairs, whatever. And I would see that she was outside, or her car wasn't even there, or she was on the other side. One time I swore I saw her walk upstairs, but she was actually in the room behind me. Then the scariest time was when I walked through my kitchen. I saw my mom standing there washing dishes. She looked up at me, she smiled at me, didn't think anything of it. Oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps. Then I walked through to the laundry room, which was at the bottom of the stairs, and I heard my mom upstairs. And I almost passed out because I was like, I swear to God, I just saw her. But then when I was replaying the memory of seeing her washing dishes, when she looked at me, there was something off. Like it was like her, but there was a little something off. After that happened, I just had this really uneasy, unsettling feeling whenever I was home. It scared me so bad. I would hear her open doors, walk around, call my name when she wasn't home. And I was thinking I feel like this is a ghost or something, but it's my mom, so it doesn't make sense. My mom is alive and well. And then recently, I've been having these dreams where I'm having a nightmare. It's really scary. And then I see my mom walking. And I'm like, okay, I need to follow my mom because this is scary. I want to follow her out of here. But then I'll be following her and I'll get this like overwhelming, uneasy feeling that that's not my mom. And that it's like a really evil presence. And then I'll try to like peek around to see her face, but she'll turn, she won't let me see it. And when I did like take a glance at her face, it was just a blur. And then I wake up like terrified, like my heart is racing. And one of the times when I woke up from one of those dreams, I heard my mom in the kitchen. I heard her talking like as if she was talking on the phone or something. And then I came to and I was like, no, my mom is not here. Like my mom is in a different state. So I was terrified and I just hid in my room under the blankets and never wanted to come out again, really. But the thing is that when people are talking about mimics, they're saying that if it's a mimic, you never see their face. But that one time, I for sure saw her face. I remember it clear as day. So what does that mean? Whatever it is, it's terrifying. And even when my mom is visiting now, when I hear her like talking or calling my name, I'm like, is that my mom?
Okay, so the weirdest thing just happened to me when I was in Target, and I have to get on here and talk about it because it is like the craziest thing I think I've ever experienced. So I was walking around in Target, just minding my own business, shopping, right? And I come across this girl, and when me and her locked eyes, I can't even explain it, y'all. Oh my God, it was so weird. When I saw her, it was literally, I thought I was looking at myself in a mirror that was in Target when I saw her. So it was like I spotted her, and when I first spotted her, it was like I was looking in a mirror, and then we locked eyes, and when we locked eyes, like we both just had the most shocked expression on our face. Like we were both looking at each other like, and like, I know this sounds crazy, but I swear to you that I really think I just saw my doppelganger, because when I saw her, I got the weirdest feeling, like almost like I wasn't even supposed to be seeing her. And I could be wrong, but like I said, her face looked just as shocked as my face was. So I feel like she was getting the same vibe as me. Like, holy shit, we look identical. And like after this happened, it was literally like my whole entire mood shifted. Like I got in the worst mood ever. Everything was just so overwhelming to me. I got this loud ringing in my ears. And then I went home and literally had a panic attack. Full-blown chest exploding panic attack. And like, even as I'm recording this TikTok right now, like this shit is acting funky because I'm about to show you. Oh my God, y'all, this is what I'm saying. I keep trying to, oh my God. Every time I go back to keep recording, like it won't let me record. It keeps freezing. And then I tried to screenshot it and show you so I could put it in the video, and it won't even let me put it in the video. That's what I'm saying. This shit is weird, y'all. Like, did I just do something? Like, did I just like hex or curse myself by seeing my doppelganger today? Because I'm freaking the fuck out. Like, y'all, I'm scared. And if anybody can tell me anything about this situation, like, if you can comment and say something or stitch this and tell me something that will make me feel better, because I'm tripping out right now. Because I know that I saw my doppelganger today, and now I feel like something is wrong with me.
I have another doppelganger story time, or a mimic. For the sake of the story, we're going to call her Lucy. So one night, Lucy was at home with her husband when she heard her daughter whistle out to the dogs. Her daughter had this very distinctive whistle, so she knew it was her daughter whistling to get the dogs' attentions. The dogs reacted and their ears perked up and they ran over to the door, expecting to see Lucy's daughter. One thing that Lucy did notice was that the motion detector lights did not turn on. Once the dogs got to the door, her husband went and opened the door, but the dogs refused to go outside. It was almost like they were met with something that they were terrified of. They were not stepping foot out of that house. Lucy decided to check her daughter's location, and she saw that her daughter was actually still at her boyfriend's house. She was nowhere near their home. A few weeks later, Lucy is home alone. She's cooking dinner. Her husband is actually at work when her and the dogs hear her daughter calling out the dogs. The dogs get excited and jump up and run to the door expecting to see Lucy's daughter, but Lucy noticed that her daughter never entered the home. When she checked her daughter's location, her daughter was nowhere near the home. This last one is what really got Lucy like completely frightened. Lucy was getting ready to go to work. Her daughter's boyfriend had actually spent the night. They have an island in their kitchen, and her daughter was standing on the other side of the island. Lucy waved at her daughter. Her daughter was actually on her AirPods, like she was talking to someone on her AirPods, and saw when her daughter turned around and walked into the bathroom. As her daughter's walked into the bathroom, she sees her daughter's boyfriend walk past her daughter and went into the garage and just kind of stood in there. As some time passed, Lucy started to wonder what her daughter's boyfriend was doing in the garage for so long. So she got up to go ask her daughter, but her daughter was still like having a conversation on her AirPods. As it turns out, Lucy's daughter had been having a conversation with her boyfriend all along. So she has absolutely no idea what entered the garage because the boyfriend had left like long before that.
So I've got a doppelganger. Doppelganger? And it's starting to get ridiculous at this point. I mean, honestly, shit's real fucking weird. A couple months ago, I go into a Sephora. I have never been into the Sephora a day in my goddamn life. I walk in, and the lady at the front is like, oh my god, welcome in, so good to see you. How's your boyfriend? How's your life? Like, what you doing? You were just here yesterday. Like, why are you back? This lady would have died on her fucking hill that I was this bitch. I was like, okay, whatever, you know, us white people, we look the same. So I was like, just brushed it off my shoulders. But then fast forward a couple weeks, and my boyfriend at the time goes out with his friends to Seattle. I'm living in Tacoma, and I'm staying at the house, right? And I get a call from him when he's out, and he's like, hey, like, you went out? Like, you're out? I'm like, I'm sitting on the couch right now. And he's like, there is a girl here who looks exactly like you. Okay, now this is where it gets real fucking weird. She was wearing the outfit that he had left me in. And do you know what I was fucking wearing when he left? Brown and white checkered bell-bottom pants. The bitch had the same fucking pants on. We had the same haircut. It was both dyed blonde, like everything. And he, like, my boyfriend at the time, we've been together for like over a year as well. And he's like, I swear to God, that's what I'm calling you. Like, I thought you were here. Like, then there's a grocery store up the street from my house. And I went in the other day, and they're like, oh, back for more? Like, you were just here. I was like, what do you mean? Right? And if you live in Seattle, like, this city is fucking small. And I live in the city. Obviously, this girl lives in the city. So, like, people seeing us all the time is not rare because, like, it's so small. Like, we are bound to cross in, like, different places. But I mean, like, I'm getting mistaken for her all the fucking time now. Okay, so yesterday, this couple comes into my job, right? And I work here in the city. And they keep looking at me and giving me strange looks, and they're like whispering to each other, and then they keep looking at me, and I walk off and I come back, and they're like, do you work at Liberty or like Liberty Bar? And I'm like, no. And they're like, yo, you look exactly like this girl. Like, we thought you were her. It's my friend's sister. Like, you guys look exactly the same. And I'm like, yeah. So now I've got to go to Liberty and see if I look like this bitch. And also, my dad grew up in this area, not my mom, but my dad is a hoe. Like, daughter like father. So I'm like, you know, the possibility of me having a sister is less, like, more than likely than me not having another sibling out there in that world. Like, there's no way my dad hasn't reproduced another bitch. But I'm like, you don't recognize yourself when you see yourself. So I'm like, does this girl really look like me? But this has been crazy. Like, it's been months of being mistaken for her, and we keep missing each other, and it's getting stupid at this point. So I'm going to go to this bar and try to find her.
This is a terrifying story about a mimic. New Year high. I usually talk about super scary stuff, and not so recently I opened an email where anyone who finds this page would be able to send in their ghost stories. And this story is definitely up there with one of the scarier ones I've read. So let's get into it. This story comes from Savannah, who starts off this whole email by telling me this all started when her and her friend Faith were watching scary YouTube videos at her house. When it was time for Faith to go home, Savannah asked Faith, hey, do you want me to walk you to your car? And what Savannah's house looks like in my mind is a walkout ranch. Specifically because she says there's a long driveway down to where Faith's car is parked in the grass. So Savannah and Faith walk down this driveway, get to Faith's car, Faith gets in, and Savannah goes back inside. And Savannah in this email specifically says that she made sure to be inside before Faith left because the videos that they had just watched together really freaked her out. And maybe 30 seconds pass before she gets a call from Faith, who's still parked at the end of her driveway. And Faith asks, are you still standing at the top of the driveway? And when Savannah told Faith, no, I ran back inside before you even started your car because the videos freaked me out, Faith says back, as she was pulling out of the driveway and pulling onto the street, she looked back up and saw Savannah standing there. So she rolled her window down and was calling out to her. And Faith asks whoever that was, hey, why are you still standing there? And Faith obviously did not get a response. And Savannah's friend also mentions that Savannah's face of the one that was standing at the top of the driveway was kind of red, and it looked like there was paint all over her face. But Faith continued to say, but I don't know because it was dark out and I couldn't really see. And that night, Savannah could not sleep. A couple weeks later, Savannah's on a walk with her brother, and their mom calls Savannah and asks what she wants. To which she obviously replies, what are you talking about? And her mom says, "You've been calling me from your room for the past 10 minutes. What do you need?" And obviously she was not home. Then a few days after this, Savannah's grandma says that she heard Savannah's mom calling her, the grandma, up to her bedroom, and when the grandma peeked in, Savannah's mom was sleeping. But that is unfortunately not where it ends. Savannah mentions that she does live in Florida, and during Hurricane Helene, Savannah and her friends were all out sitting on her porch watching the rain come down. And they decided to download a ghost app and try to talk to ghosts. And Savannah says that they were getting some pretty weird responses, but nothing scary, until Faith, the one that saw that thing at the top of her driveway, jumps up and says, "Did you guys hear that?" and ran inside of Savannah's house. And that clearly freaked everyone out, so they all followed Faith inside. And when they asked her what was going on, Faith looked like she was gonna cry. And Faith says that she heard a little girl's voice say hello. One of their other friends suggests, "Hey, why don't we get back on the ghost app and see if that little girl responds?" And the app started saying some really weird stuff. Words like burning, fire, dead, escape, kill. So Savannah looks up if there were any fires in their town. And there was. In 1959, in this town, a man burned a hotel down, and when he was interrogated about it, the police had gotten a tip from someone that said this guy was offered $20,000 to burn this hotel down, and when they asked the suspect, he denied it. Savannah concludes this whole email by saying that she does not think it's a coincidence that the app was saying the things that it was, and they found out about the crime. And I do just want to make note that she did send me the newspaper clipping of this happening in 1959. I'm not going to include that because there's just too much information about her in this story where I don't feel comfortable posting her little town too. And at that point, there'd be a lot of people. If you guys have been following for a long time, pause on the story. You know that sometimes when I'm filming, I hear a little, and I just heard it. I don't know if it's, I'll have to check if it's on here. But anyways, that's going to do it for me. Stay tuned for more ghost stories.
Something is mimicking my girlfriend and I need it to stop. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm kind of freaked out. Here's how it started. On Saturday, my girlfriend and I were leaving our apartment. We ran into a friend of ours. There was a couple of people in the lobby and I was worried that I was being a little loud in the back of my head. And then I hear Kayla say, "Sarah, come on." Like that, like, "Sarah, come on." Immediately, I was like, oh man, I'm embarrassing myself. That over my shoulder to our friend, I was like, "Okay, bye." And we go out the door. We get in the car and I say, "Hey, did I do something wrong? Was I acting a little over the top?" And she goes, "What are you talking about?" And I go, "You said, Sarah, come on." She stops me and she goes, "I didn't say that to you. And I actually was going to ask you why you switched mid-sentence from just having a conversation to hustling out the door." According to her, we were having a total normal conversation, laughing out of nowhere. I just switched, beelined towards the door and just started talking over my shoulder. And she kind of looked and just followed after me. I swear to God, she said, "Sarah, come on." Literally just 10 minutes ago, went to go take a nap in the other room in our bedroom. And I hear her go, "Hello?" I'm trying to do the inflection because it was very off. It sounded as if someone was calling her that she was really surprised to get a phone call from, and she didn't say anything after. And at first I thought, oh, it must be a spam call, but why would she answer a spam call? Oh my gosh, I hope there's nothing wrong, with her family. I hope there's nothing wrong at work. I said, "Babe, is everything okay?" And she goes, "Yeah, why?" I go, "Oh, you just answered the phone." She goes, "No, I didn't." And that's where I am now. The really, truly upsetting thing about it is both times it was her voice. We're gonna have to do some sort of cleaning tonight. Some sort of cleansing. Something. We gotta do something tonight. I watched my fair share of mimic videos, especially, those in Appalachia. What happened to me, it's an interesting phenomenon. I could talk about this stuff all day long. I feel a little ridiculous putting this up myself. But I swear to God, that's what I heard.
Have you ever seen your doppelganger, or have you ever seen the doppelganger of a family member? Or have you ever heard the voice of your mom calling you, but she was never home? Story time, this person wants to remain anonymous. I'll explain why at the end. For the sake of the story, let's call her Millie. So Millie came home from school one day. She was just relaxing when she heard the intercom going off. Now Millie lives in an apartment building where you have to buzz to get in. Millie looks at the screen on the intercom and sees that it's her sister that's ringing the doorbell. Without even thinking about it, she hits the button and lets her in. Only to turn around and see that the sister that she just let in is actually walking out of her bedroom. Her sister asks her, "Who was that?" Millie, with a very pale face, tells her, "That was you. You just rang the doorbell. I buzzed you in. I saw you clearly in the camera." They are both terrified when they realize that the elevator is actually going up and is getting ready to reach their door. Millie quickly goes and locks the front door while they just sit there in silence. They decided to call their mother, who was a very highly religious person. Their mother instructed them to stay quiet and to pray. Just as they're sitting there praying, they hear the doorbell ring. Millie, thinking that it's her mom, she looks out of the peephole but sees that it's actually her sister. The only difference is that this time her sister's hair looks different. She has it like up in a ponytail. But whatever this is looks identical to her sister. Then this thing spoke and it yelled out Millie's name and said, "I'm tired, open the door." It sounded almost identical to her sister. The only difference was that this thing's voice was distorted. They ran to their praying room and started praying even harder until their mom finally made it home. The minute their mom got home, they told their mom in full detail about everything that took place, and their mom told them to never speak of this to anyone, because the minute it knows that they know, it will come.
I had a follower send me their mimic/doppelganger story, and it is terrifying. According to her, it all kicked off in 2021, and her husband would be gone a lot because he was in the military. He would be like out in the field for 2 to 3 weeks at a time, and during those times, she would just feel a presence in her home. At the time, this really freaked her out because she was pregnant with their first child, their daughter, and so she would light prayer candles every single night before she went to bed. It would just give her comfort. And she would just leave them lit throughout the night. And one night she wakes up and they're all out. And she thinks it's weird, but she has to go to the bathroom. So she kind of just ignores it, gets up. And as she's going to the bathroom, she hears what sounds like a woman singing from her daughter's nursery, which is literally right next to the bathroom, like singing, humming. She said it sounded like a lullaby. The nursery at the time was just being used for storage because, of course, she was pregnant. When she leaves the bathroom, like rushing to her daughter's nursery, the humming is just getting louder and louder and louder, and it doesn't stop until she actually opens up the door. Obviously, there was no one there humming. And about 2 weeks later, her husband is home from the field. Well, her husband had just finished using the bathroom. He's kind of coming out to the living room, and when he sees her, he like jumps out of his skin. He's so scared. And she like laughs. She just thinks like maybe she startled him. And he says to her, "Did you just sit down there?" And she says, "No, why?" Like she's on the couch with her cookies, she's under a blanket, she's comfy. And that's when her husband tells her that he just saw her walk into their daughter's room. And he was really confused when this happened because it looked just like her, except for some reason she had long black hair. Over the next couple of months, her husband swears this keeps happening. Like he will see the back of her head, except it's never the back of her head. She just has this long black hair, but she's always wearing the same clothes and it looks just like her. And she'll be walking into a room as he's kind of like walking past. In October of 2021, she gave birth to their first child, their daughter, and she found out shortly after that she was pregnant with their son. And nothing happens until about a month after her son is born in 2022. And of course, it was one of those times where her husband was gone in the field and she's going to the bathroom. I don't know why the bathroom is attached to so many weird happenings in this place. But as she's in there, she hears a sound coming from her daughter's nursery. Now this is really concerning because when it happened the first time, she was pregnant with her daughter. Now her daughter like lives in that room. And so she immediately gets up from the bathroom. She's going down the hall to investigate. And it sounds like there's something tapping in her daughter's room. My cat has joined us for the story, but she goes into her daughter's room. She's like, "What is this tapping sound?" And that's when she realizes it's the blinds in her daughter's room, like hitting the window over and over and over again, as if somebody is sitting there and like moving them back and forth. She also then notices that her daughter is like upright in her crib. Her hair is a mess. Her daughter is like freaking out, crying. So she immediately scoops her daughter up. She takes her to the bedroom. She has her other child in there. Both of the babies are crying and screaming and everybody's freaked out. And she's on the phone with her in-laws like, what do I do? Her father-in-law comes to the home to come check things out, just make sure everything's okay. And of course, nobody's there. She's kind of like, I'm sorry I called you out. I swear to you, I know what I heard. And shortly after this, that apartment, that place where they lived, actually got broken into. And so they immediately moved to a townhome, which is where the rest of this story takes place. She probably at this time wasn't thinking much about the paranormal activity and the weird mimic stuff from the last place because they're in a new home and she had bigger fish to fry. Like their place actually got broken into. But she would sometimes notice that her daughter's closet light would be on when she would enter into the room and she just would ignore it. She was like, I don't really want to bring this energy into the new place. I'm not going to acknowledge it. Until one day her husband calls out to her and he says, were you just watching me go to the bathroom? And she calls back from the living room. She's like, no, I'm on my phone. I'm watching YouTube in the living room. And he says, I saw you again like last time, but this time you were peeking around the door at me while I was using the bathroom. And of course she's freaked out because her husband just saw that thing again after so much time without any activity. And so she starts cleansing the space pretty routinely and the activity dies down again. And once again, she's like, okay, we're in the clear. And then there's an incident where they have a bunch of guests over and her daughter drops a glass and she decides to put her daughter into her room in this new townhouse just so they can clean up the glass and she won't get hurt on any of it. Her husband is like, don't worry, I'll take care of it. You stay with her. And so she stays in the room with her daughter. They're like laying on the floor playing with toys when suddenly her daughter sits up and she's like a year and a half, 2 years at this point. And she lets out this blood-curdling scream while looking into her closet, the same closet where the lights had been coming on occasionally, and the original person who sent me this email doesn't know why. She walks around this room and she's telling whatever this is, like, no, leave her alone, get out of here. Eventually, her daughter calms down. And at the time of sending me this email, she had said that her husband was leaving for 9 months. And she felt like the thing was going to act up again once he was gone. I didn't find this email until literally like today, and it was sent a year ago. So I'm going to email her back and ask if anything else happened. But in my original email, she asked for advice. So if you guys have any ideas for how to get rid of this thing, if she's still dealing with it, let her know down below. She'll probably read the comments. But yeah, this is such a terrifying mimic story. So what do you think? Stay spooky, friends.
I know a lot of people don't believe in ghost stories and stuff like that, but I wanted to go ahead and just kind of talk about doppelgängers. Yeah, I used to live in the country with my ex, and my sister-in-law was staying with us for a little while, and she was in the kitchen talking on the phone, and so she was on the phone, so I went ahead and went to my room. And then I hear Shelly, I was like, so I come out of the room and I go to the kitchen. I was like, hey, what's up? And she's in the hallway looking towards my kid's room. And she's like, how did you do that? I mean, how'd you get over here so fast? And I was like, what? And she's like, I just saw you go over there. I was like, no, I was in my room. And she's like, no, I saw you. You came out of the restroom. You had some blankets in your hand. You looked through the blankets and then you went into the kid's room. I was like, no, I didn't. So she started freaking out. I started freaking out because that wasn't the first time that had happened. The second time someone thought they saw me was my ex, who does not believe in ghosts, was outside working on his big rig, and it was dark, so he had his headlights on. And I'm inside in the kitchen and I'm washing dishes. He comes inside and he's like, what do you want? I'm looking at him like, what? He's like, what do you want? I said, what do you mean? What do I want? He's like, why did you come outside? And I was like, dude, I'm washing dishes. Like, you see me washing dishes. I didn't go outside. He's like, Michelle, I literally just saw you walk in front of my truck. So you walked through the damn headlights,
I'll watch you walk up to the porch, and I'll watch you walk inside. What did you want? I said, I don't know what you saw, but it wasn't me. And I didn't even hear the door open. I was like, so it wasn't me. I don't know what you're talking about. So he just kind of looks at me, and he turns around and walks away and never talks about it again. Never. I'm like, because he refused to acknowledge everything that was going on in that house. And he did experience some things that he just refused to admit it. It's crazy. It's like, he's like, no, there's got to be a reason. There's got to be a reason. Ain't no reason you'll see me, baby. Ain't no reason. Anyways, I thought I'd give that story because it was creepy. It's scary. And my mom's like, that's an evil spirit. That's a demon. You know, demons do that. And I was like, great, we have a demon in the house. So, yeah, that's my story. Have a good night.